Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Bobbles and Berries podcast. If you're new here, my name is Ode and I'm coming to you from Edinburgh in Scotland, and I've got just a regular podcast episode for you today. I'm really excited about it because I've got some nice projects that I've really enjoyed working on, and I can't wait to share all of this with you. I've got the cat meowing behind the door. Let's see if she wants to come in. This is the cat. Her name is Luna, and she doesn't like closed doors. So I don't know. We'll see how long she stays with us. And I think once my husband comes back, I think she'll go with him. So yeah, that's what it is. If you hear meowing in the background, she's a very chatty cat. So yeah. Anyway, I was saying it was just a regular podcast episode today. And before I get into the knitting, I just wanted to say thank you for your lovely comments on my last episode. I was sharing that I'd been going through a bit of a burnout, and so many of you had very nice, supportive, encouraging comments. A lot of you also shared your own experiences about going through a burnout, and yeah, thank you for that. I'm feeling better. I feel a bit better every day, so yeah, things are okay. So yeah, let's get into the knitting. Obviously, my cat has just now sat on the project I'm about to show you. Excuse me. Yes. Okay. So I've got one finished object, and then I've got 4 works in progress. 2 of them are new, cast on since last time. I'm going to start with the finished object, and I'm really sorry, but I'm not going to put it on to show you because it is way too hot for that. It is my, yes, it is very hot. It is my Snowfield Sweater that I was working on last time, and this is what it looks like. And it's quite a thick sweater with mohair, so thank you for your understanding. It's just way too warm. I promise I will wear it in a podcast episode later in the autumn or winter. But this is what it looks like, and I'm so happy with it. It turned out so well. It's got cables on the sleeves. Let me see if I can show you. On both sleeves, and then it's got cables on just running down the front, and then the back has some columns of like textured stitches, but no more cable. The pattern that I use, can I have the book please? Oh, I'm sorry. Is from Laine Magazine, issue Winter 2025, issue 23. And it is a pattern by Hiromi Nagasawa. I hope I'm saying this right. And this is what it looks like. And it's really beautiful. I really love it, and that's like one of the reasons why I bought this issue. I don't buy all the Laine magazines. I made the size 2, which is what fit my measurement according to pattern, and I did a few modifications, so let me just run you through all of that, and I will just start with the yarn as well. So for the yarn, I use kind of what was recommended in the pattern. So in the pattern, they use Durarrum Natura Gilead as your main strand, and then held double with some mohair. They use Isair in the pattern, but I used the Durarrum mohair, and I think the reason why maybe they didn't use the Durarrum mohair is because I don't think it was released at the time. Like, it's a fairly new yarn from them, so yeah. So I use Gilead. This is what the label looks like. It is kind of like their DK weight, 250 meters per 100 grams, and I used it in the shade Boulot, which is a really light, warm gray. And then I paired it with their white mohair, but I think it's more like their off-white mohair, because I think they've got one that is like bright white, and the mohair is called Berenice. and it's got a bit of wool, I think, in it. Yeah, it's 55% super kid mohair, 25% silk, and 20% wool, which I really like. I like the mohairs that have a bit of wool as well in it. I think, is it maybe Sandnesgarn that also does this? I don't remember. And so yeah, it gave me that really nice light gray color, which is what I was going for. Most of that yarn was in my stash already, which I'm really happy to have been able to use it. I just had to buy a couple extra balls of mohair, and there was a bit of a difference in the dye lot, like the whites were not exactly the same. So I alternated my mohair when I changed between the two dye lots. I don't know that it would have made a difference because, especially held together with the Gilead, I don't think that you would have seen it, but just to be safe, I alternated for a few rows, and now you can't tell anything. So yeah, I think I did it. I think the sleeves, the yoke, and the collar are all the same dye lot of mohair, and then the rest of the body and the hem is a different one. But I really can't tell the difference. The way it works is that you cast on at the back and you do short rows that create kind of like a little bit of a crescent shape, and then eventually you join the fronts, and then you kind of work in the round by doing a lot of increases, so you can shape like kind of like saddle shoulders or like shoulder pads like this, but that's just done with increases. I know sometimes you knit those squares and then you pick up stitches either side, but this one is just done pretty much in the round. And then you do increases for the armholes, but still working in the round. And then like you would do for pretty much every sweater, you just divide for the sleeves, join under the arms, knit the body, and knit the sleeves. I knit until just a little bit under the arm, and then I went and did the sleeves just for yarn management primarily, and then I also went and did the collar, and that's when I did a few modifications. I'm just going to grab my knitting journal here to let you know the modifications that I made. So first of all, I switched needle size for the ribbing. It was the pattern said to use 6mm for the body and then 5mm for the ribbing. I went down to 4 because 5 was just way too loose, especially around the collar. And then I inverted the direction of the cables on the body and also on the sleeves. So the sleeves, you've got a central column of cables, and then you've got kind of like a wavy cable either side. And so the central column I also inverted it just because if they cross one way for me, they're neater than if they cross the other way. It doesn't really make a difference to the pattern, really. It's just up to you. And especially once you've done your first crossing, then you almost don't need to look at the pattern to know which way you're going to cross. You just need to look at your knitting and do the same. So yeah, I did that. And then I also shortened the collar quite a lot. I think this is about 7 centimeters, and it was 10, I think, in the pattern, but it was coming super high. So I took it out a couple of times actually, because the first time I did it on the recommended needles and it was way too loose, and then the second time it was just way too tall. So yeah, it's still not like a tight, like it's still a bit floppy, but I don't mind. And then for the bind off, it's a 2x2, so I did that thing where you like rearrange your stitches to do an Italian bind off, and it's all right. It's not, I think it's quite visible, but I honestly don't know how else to do it. So if you have other ways of doing like sort of an Italian bind off looking kind of like type of bind off on a 2x2 rib, please let me know, because yeah, in the pattern it says just to do a regular bind off, but I was worried that it might not go over my head because that's not a very stretchy bind off, or then if I wanted to make it loose enough that it would go over my head, then it would just not look very good. I did, however, do a regular bind off on the sleeves and the hem, because for the collar it's 2x2, but then for the sleeves and the hem it's 2x1, and I just didn't want to faff around with like trying to rearrange stitches and stuff like that. So I just did a regular bind off, and that works well. Overall, I'm really, really pleased with it. One thing I did for blocking, because I didn't want to block it, it looks like it's like lying flat now, but it's not really, it's just because it was folded. But I didn't want to block it flat, especially at the sleeves, because I wanted to be able to stretch out the cables. Obviously when you knit, cables kind of like bunch a bit and you want to stretch them out and help them relax while you block. The thing is that if you're on a sleeve and your sleeve is folded halfway through the cable, it's a bit tricky. So the way I usually do it is that I'm going to roll towels. I roll them like a sausage basically, and I'm going to slide that into the arms and let it dry that way. And that way I can control how big I want my sleeve to be. I know some people also like to use pool noodles, which basically look like arms. The thing is that I find the ones that I would find here anyway, I think, would be a bit too thin. Like they would be barely bigger than my arm, and I kind of wanted an oversized sleeve for that. And also that's, I think, what the pattern looked like. And also I don't really have space to like store pool noodles in my house that I'm going to use once a year. So I've been using towels and it's been working really well because, again, I can control how tight or how many towels I roll together to get the circumference that I want. And it's worked really well. I've let it, like, it's warm, so it dried fairly quickly, but I've still let it sit on my blocking mat for about a week just to make sure that it didn't bounce back. Because I'd seen this video once, I think it was on Instagram, and I think it was by one of the Shetland wool producers, so maybe like Jamieson and Smith or Jamieson of Shetland, I don't remember which one. But they were basically showing how to block one of those very nice, fine, like Shetland lace shawls. And they were showing how, like, even if it feels dry after, let's say, 24 hours, and then you take it off and you unpin it, it's still gonna like scrunch back and you're going to lose that all that definition of the lace. And basically what they were saying is that like leave it at least like leave it up to a week, like 5 to 7 days was what they recommended to prevent the knitting from bouncing back. So I've been doing this as well. It's not like I was going to wear it, so I could just leave it sit for a week. That was not a problem. And yeah, the only thing that I need to do now is, because the body was still lying flat, so I do have a crease on the side, and that means that when I wear it, it looks a bit like this because of the crease, and I don't really like that. So I'll just run my steamer over that and just, you know, like flatten out the crease. But again, I'll probably do this once I'm ready to wear it, which is not now. And yeah, I think that's about it. It was really easy. Like it's got impact, I would say. Maybe it looks complicated, but it's really not. The cables are quite, like the row where you actually cross and cable are quite far apart. The details, the columns on the front here, and then on the back, where is it? Here. That's just broken rib, so if you put markers, so yeah, you don't forget, it's easy to do. And then the main column on the back, it's like just like a knit one below kind of thing, so it's also very easy. So it's nice because it's easy, it's in and around, you don't have a lot to think about, but it's also not entirely mindless because you need to just keep track of those little details. So it's both engaging and easy. So yeah, I would maybe, like, if it's your first time doing cables or something, that would be a good pattern, I think. And yeah, I think it's really nice. I'm really looking forward to wearing it when it gets a bit cooler, which I hope is soon, because I don't like the heat and I don't like summer. So yeah, that is, she's here, she's on the table. You can't see her, but you can hear her. This is my one finished object. Okay, Luna's gone with my husband now. I'm gonna move on to my works in progress. Like I said, I have 4. I actually have 5. One is that stripy scarf that I was talking about in my last episode, but I haven't done anything to it since I last recorded. I haven't knit 1 stitch, so I'm not going to talk about it this time. But yeah, so I have 2 new cast-ons and 2 things that you've seen previously. I think I'm going to start with the new cast-ons because it's kind of exciting. And the first one is another garment I have in my beautiful Wildwood Stitches bag. That's just my favorite. They're so nice. And now that I finished my own sweater, I cast one on for my husband. So his birthday was in June, and I initially wanted to gift him a scarf. I found a really nice pattern, actually. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head just now, but I'll put a picture on the screen. It was really nice, and it allowed me also to use a bunch of yarn from my stash, but he doesn't actually really wear scarves, so I might just still do it for myself. But yeah, I had, however, promised him another sweater. So last year I made him a zipper sweater, and he just wears it all the time. It is in dire need of depilling, so I need to buy a little thing to do that, but he just wears it all the time. A few years back, I'd also made him the single malt sweater in a purple yarn, and the fit is not very good. It was like I hadn't been knitting sweaters for very long, and it was the first one that I was making for him, and yeah, I think it's a bit too short, like in the body and the sleeves, but because I made it, he still says that it's his, like, one of his favorite sweaters, and he wears it all the time. So yeah, it's very nice, but I honestly wouldn't blame him if he stopped wearing it because the fit isn't great. But anyway, he's definitely knit worthy. I've made him like a million pairs of socks. He's got enough. I've made him a million hats. He's got enough now. What he does need, however, is sweaters. So I said I would make him another one for his birthday in yarn that I already had in my stash. And the one that I have chosen is the Versal. I don't know how you pronounce it. Sweater by Ailbíona McLochlainn, and I'm gonna put a picture on the screen of what it looks like. And what I've done so far is just this. So it's a bit bunched up because I like having the body on a shorter needle, so I'm not constantly pushing my stitches towards my needle. But I've just divided for the sleeves and the body, and this is what it looks like. So let me tell you about the yarn first. The yarn that I'm using is yarn that I had in stash. I think I originally bought it to make like a jacket or something for me, and then decided against it. But I had 7 skeins, which is exactly the amount that I need for his size. I'm making a size 5, but at half gauge sizing. So I'll just come back to that in a minute because this pattern is just brilliant for that kind of stuff. But let me show you the yarn. So the yarn that I've got is West Yorkshire Spinners Fleece, 100% British wool, Jacob wool, Aran. I think they also have it in DK. And I have it in the light gray 005. This is yarn that is not usually dyed. It comes in just natural colors, and I have the light gray. It's really nice. It has, I think, maybe a little bit of spinning oil still on it. It smells a bit cheapy, which I really like, and Kyle likes that as well. And it's a nice Aran. It's 166 meters, 182 yards to 100 grams. And yeah, I really love it. It's really, really nice to knit with it. The only thing is, because I think it still has a bit of spinning oil or something on it, it has a bit of grip, and so I need to adjust how I hold my yarn, because usually I wrap it around my pinky, but if I do that, it doesn't slide because it's not that smooth, so I just don't wrap it. But that's an easy adjustment. So the patterns by Ailbíona McLochlainn are brilliant. There's always so many options included in it, and also like really good instructions for modifications, especially when it comes to sizing. So she has like quite a wide range of sizes. It's all like quite size inclusive, but also she explains how to play around with the gauge a little bit to be able to do half sizes, which is really great because this is what I needed to do here. The ease and chest circumference and things that we wanted to use for my husband, he was in between 2 sizes. And so she says, like, then play around with your needle sizes to obtain this gauge, and then knit the smaller of the 2 sizes that you're in between, and then go with that. And it's just like, I think it's so brilliant that she does this. This particular pattern is also available for men and women. So I think for the men one, which is what I'm making now, I haven't made the women one, although I will probably make it for myself. I think the men version has just like maybe slightly larger shoulders or something, and like maybe different options for the body. And it also comes with 3 necks. So one is a double folded crew neck. I think you could probably also just do a single, like not folded basically. One is a mock neck, so it goes a bit high, and that's it. And then one is kind of like a turtleneck, so it goes high, but then it folds over itself. And right now we are going for the mock neck, and I think he was hesitating between the mock neck and the turtleneck, so I'm gonna go with the mock neck. He's gonna try it on. If he likes it, I'll bind off. If he would rather have the turtleneck, then I'll just keep knitting for a little bit. And yeah, the construction is also really nice because you work in the round the whole time. It has like not a drop shoulder, kind of like a saddle shoulder look. Like it's not a raglan. I hope you can see. But you do everything in the round, so you do a lot of increases. So you cast on your stitches, and then you do a lot of increases first you do some short rows as well, but you do a lot of increases to have those sort of like that saddle shape, and then you shift the kinds of increases that you do to start like opening the sleeve, and then you shift again to sort of like make it go under the arm like this. It's very clever. It's really, really very clever. I love it. I've knit a few of her patterns before, and I've always really, really loved it. Technically, because the pattern is meant to be like seamless, like easy knit, everything, you start at the collar. So you do your collar and then you go into the body. However, because we're not 100% sure of what color we're going to go for, I wanted to do the collar afterwards so I could do it the other way and adjust the length that way. And she gives instructions for that as well in the pattern, saying that like if you would rather do that, then just like start from the step where you just cast on like the neck number of stitches, and then you'll pick up stitches for the collar. It also gives it a little bit of structure, I guess, if you pick stitches up, like it doesn't stretch out as much, which is also something that I wanted to do. So I'm gonna do that later. Also, the collar looks really, really wide right now, which is a bit of a concern. You do go down in needle sizes pretty drastically. I'm knitting this on 5mm. Yeah, 5mm, which I think it's a bit of a bigger needle size than she uses, but I got gauged that way. And then for the ribbing, I will go to 3.5. So I'm gonna try it out, see if it brings it in a bit. It's not a tight collar anyway. It's supposed to be quite loose, but then there's loose and there's really loose. So we'll see how that works. And if it's too loose, then I'll just adjust my pickup rate. Because technically you're supposed to start from the collar down, like the number of stitches that you have on your collar are the same number of stitches that you have like sort of like around that neckline here. So I'm going to pick up like 1 stitch in 1 stitch, but if it's too loose, then I'll adjust my pickup rate. Yeah, what else do I want to say about that? I think that's about it, because I'm not very far into it, but it flies off the needles. I knit all of this in, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 evenings in front of the telly, like really not very long. I'm also, I just finished a ball of yarn, which is why I kind of like stopped so I could show it to you easily. And I think what I'm gonna do next is I am going to do the collar. I'm gonna attach a new ball of yarn, do the collar, see how that looks. And then I don't know, I'll see. I might just go into the body, or I might do the sleeves. I don't know, I might just do a little bit more of the body. And yeah, and basically once you've done this part and the collar, then you just knit in the round for the body, knit in the round for the sleeves. There might be some decreases for the sleeves, I haven't looked. And that's it. It's really super easy. There's 2 options in the men pattern when it comes to the body. There's just like a straight down, like in the round. There's also kind of like a more tapered, so I guess that's maybe made for like men that maybe have more like a triangular shape. I don't know. But we're just going to go straight down. It's fine. It's easy. Also, my husband doesn't have like particularly white shoulders anyway, so yeah, I think I heard the bin guys. No, we're safe. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying this. Obviously, definitely not seasonally appropriate, but I'm going to be working on this summer, and I think he'll have it by, I don't know, September or something, to where when it starts getting cooler. I didn't want to make it like ahead and then give it to him for his birthday as kind of like a surprise, because I wanted to, one, make sure, like I wanted his input basically on the pattern and also the sizing and also the different options, and I also definitely want him to be able to try it on as I knit. So yeah, I told him on his birthday that I was going to make him a sweater, and now I'm making him a sweater, and he's like, yeah, it's just easier if he can try it on and all that. Yeah, I just want it to fit, you know, like if you're spending all that time knitting a sweater, you do want it to fit. So yeah, but I would definitely recommend this pattern. I am going to make, so when you buy the pattern, you do get both the women and the men version of it, like you don't have to buy them separately. And I like the construction so much that I think I'm gonna make one for myself. I did order some yarn that I haven't received yet, like some red yarn that I might use for that, but I'll see when I have it. But it's like a very nice basic, and I feel like that's kind of the kind of stuff that I want to knit even for myself right now. So yeah, that's maybe a project down the line. All right, moving on to one project that I was working on last time, and this is my Botanist shawl by probably Locatelli. And I've made some good progress. I'm actually almost done. And this is what it looks like. So it's basically a shawl that looks like a leaf, which is kind of fun. So I'm just going to show you kind of like half. It's folded in half right now, but you can see, how can I show you? You can see the shape. If I do it this way. Yeah, you can see the shape, like it looks like a half leaf. So like if I open it up, I don't think I can show everything on the screen, but I'm gonna fall off my stool. Yeah, it's really nice. It's really easy to knit, and the yarn that I'm using is black yarn. I have 2 skeins of that, so it's black yarn. They're a British-based yarn company. Their base is Woodland 4-ply. This is what it looks like. And I have the 100% British wool, and I have the shade Clover, which is a really nice green, 320 meters per 100 grams, so kind of like more like a sport. And this is what the yarn looks like. I had 2 skeins of that in my stash for a very long time. I kind of fell in love with that yarn when it was first released, so I bought 2 skeins, but without really a project in mind. And it's kind of been sitting in my stash for maybe a couple of years now because I couldn't really figure out what to do with it. And it's the perfect amount that I need for this shawl. So I'm really happy to finally be able to use it. And I am making this because we're going to an event this summer, and I kind of wanted a nice shawl to wear there. I mean, it's probably going to be very hot because it's where my family lives in France, in the south of France. And right now it's like 40 degrees. So, but I'm glad it's like a good excuse to knit something, use some yarn. And yeah, it's rolling a bit right now, but I think that will block out. The pattern itself is really easy. You start at one tip and you knit up to the other tip. It is alternating panels of garter stitch and then little bands of lace. It is super easy lace, so I think if you wanted to give lace a try and hadn't really done it, that would definitely be a project for that. The lace sections are also quite short. I think there's like per section there's only like 3 actual rows of lace, and then in between is just garter stitch, so you do have to do some increases or decreases on the side here, and you have like an I-cord, but you knit it as you go, so it's not like you have to pick it up and do it at the end. And yeah, I think I have exactly the amount of yarn that I need. I'm about, so let's see. So I'm here, so, which is here. So I think I'm in like this bit, and then I have one last section of lace and then the point, like the pointy bit. And yeah, that should be more than enough. The pattern does tell you sort of when you're about to reach the middle point, so you can weigh your yarn and make sure that you have like half left. And if you're worried that you're gonna be a bit short on yarn, the pattern tells you where you can take out some rows to make sure that you have enough to finish it. So that's really nice as well. And yeah, a really fun pattern. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really pleased with it. I can't wait to block it and stretch it out. It has also this really nice kind of like column of stitches in the middle, which is just like you do like a slip stitch kind of situation there, which kind of, it's like the middle of a leaf, you know, like that sort of like stem or middle vein or whatever it's called. What it does though is that right now it makes it fold naturally. So I'm gonna have to see what it's like after blocking. I think once again, like if I block it flat, stretch it out nicely, like stretch out the garter nicely and pin it down and leave it like that for a week or something, I think that would be good. But I think probably with wear, it's gonna maybe naturally want to fold over in the middle, but that's okay. If it bothers me too much, I can always reblock it, but we'll see how it goes. It's a really lovely pattern. I really enjoy it, and it's really easy to knit and quite mindless as well. So yeah, would recommend again. Obviously, I mean, I think if a pattern was so bad that I would not recommend it to anybody, then I probably would frog it and not finish it anyway. So I don't know why I say recommend this, because yes, obviously, if I'm making it, I would recommend it. All right, let's move on to the third work in progress. This one is also a new one, and this is the Florence bag by Petite Knit. It's the one that was really popular. I don't know if it was last summer or 2 summers ago. Everyone was knitting it, and everyone was knitting it in that specific color, and it was kind of hard to find that yarn at some point. Like shops just ran out. But yeah, I don't know, fell in love with it as well. And I thought, I guess it must have been 2 summers ago. And then I thought, well, I'll knit it for the summer after, because last summer we went to a wedding and I thought that would be a great accessory to have for the wedding. I didn't have time to do it, and so I've had the yarn sitting in my stash all that time. And I was like, well, okay, we're going to an event this year. Now it's a good excuse, a good reason to knit it. And so yeah, here I am. So I'll have put a picture of what the bag looks like, and it is knit in some unusual yarn. It is the Easy Air Japanese cotton. I think that's what I mean. I think that's what that means on the label. I hope you can see. I can't see if it's focusing or not. Comes in 50-gram balls, 100% cotton, 315 meters per 50 grams. Whoops. And this is what the balls look like. So you work with 3 strands together. So I have 3 balls in there, and this is what they look like. And the cotton is kind of like flat. I don't know if you can see here. And yeah, it's very unusual. Like, it's not your regular cotton yarn. The shade that I have is like the beige one, is color 59. I know they do other color. I wonder if this one is maybe like not dyed, although I guess cotton is more white, but anyway. So yeah, so the way it works is that you knit it by holding 3 strands together, but you only need 100 grams of yarn, and those balls of yarn are 50 grams. So technically I would only need 2, but I bought 3 because I think they were fairly inexpensive, and inexpensive enough that to me it was worth buying more yarn to be able to pull a strand from 3 different balls, as opposed to trying to work with 3 strands but coming from just 2 balls of yarn, or having to like rewind yarn to make 3 different balls. I think the yarn was quite cheap, and I was like, that's not worth the hassle. So I just bought 3 different ones, and that's working really well. I have it in a bag like this, which is just a bit bigger than the yarn, so it kind of like holds them up and it doesn't get tangled that way. And yeah, it's been working quite well. I'm making the larger size of the bag. There's two sizes, and then there's also in the pattern like a little, kind of like a little coin purse or like a small zipper pouch. And I think because I bought 50 grams more yarn than I need, I probably have yarn left over to make a little pouch, which I will just to use up the yarn because otherwise I don't know what I'm going to use it for. And yeah, this is what it looks like. So you start, it's just knit in the round the whole time. You start with a bit of just stocking it in the round, and then you have like it's like lace, but it's kind of like a mesh pattern, which is really easy to do. It's like a 2 pattern repeat. It's super easy to do, and then you just knit for a certain length, and then I think you do something for the base, but I haven't, like decreases or something, but I haven't reached that bit. And then the pattern is giving you instruction to, like sewing instructions for the lining, because there's a lining, otherwise, like as you can see, it's very holey, so you would just lose your stuff or everything would get caught in it. So you do line it with cotton. So the pattern has instructions to sew that if you've got fabric at home and you know how to sew. But I think you can probably also buy it pre-made from Petite Knit's store or from like other stores that sell her products. You can also buy the zipper, which I didn't. I mean, I bought one, but I bought the wrong size. I'll still be able to use it for the little pouch, but it's the wrong size for this one. So I'll just go into the fabric store and buy it there. And then you can also buy the leather strap, which I did. I was a bit, so I remember watching those twins who knit, and I think Jessica made it, and I remember her saying that it was a bit hard on her hands because it's cotton, it's just got no give, like it's just super hard. So I was a bit mindful of that. To be honest, it's been okay. I don't think I wouldn't be able to knit on this for hours, but it's been okay. So yeah, it might just be a matter of like maybe she's a tighter knitter than I am or something like that. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I have no idea if I'm on gauge, to be honest. I don't really care because I can adjust the lining. I'll sew it myself, so I can adjust the size of that if I need to. And then because I don't actually have a zipper, I can, once I'm done with this, I can measure and go get a zipper that's the size that I need. And obviously the strap doesn't, like the size of the bag doesn't affect the strap in any way. So yeah, it's been good. It's been actually like, I thought it would be a really weird experience knitting with this yarn, but it's fine. I also thought maybe I would need to use wooden needles because sometimes plant fibers just are more slippery on like metal needles, but I haven't had an issue. Also, I don't really have the wooden needle, so, you know, it just would have had to sort of power through, but I haven't had an issue. It doesn't slip. So, yeah. And yeah, like I said, I'll probably, maybe not right away, but I'll probably just knit the little zipper pouch just to use up the rest of the yarn, because that's not the kind of leftover yarn that you can really use for something else. It's just so unusual. I've never seen another project that used this yarn, to be honest. I don't know if it's still made. Yeah, I'm sure there's like loads of other projects that use it, but it's probably just to make like accessories like bags and little baskets and things. I don't know that you would make a garment out of that. Probably not. I wouldn't anyway. I don't think it would be comfortable. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to block it or how to do that. It is cotton, so it should block fine. But I might just give it a steam because right now the top is rolling a bit. But also it's just a bag, so I think I might just give it a steam to like, so it relaxes a bit. But yeah, that's it. All right, and last but not least, my final work in progress is the socks that I was working on last time. I have made some progress, but not a ton. So I think last time I just barely started. So now I've done the leg on both. And that's it. The yarn that I'm using looks like this, but I don't have a label for it. I bought it from the yarn shop in North Berwick, and I think it was their own hand dyed. I don't really remember. And I think either it's like a standard merino nylon, or I think it might be a BFL nylon. But I'm really not sure. But I really like the color. I know it is sock yarn, and I'm doing a 2x2. I'm not using a pattern, I'm just doing my own thing. So I'm going to do a 2x2, the whole leg, and then on top of the foot, and then under the foot is going to be stockinette. I'm going to do a heel flap and gusset, and then a round toe, which is what I usually do. I made the legs, I think that's about 70 rounds, which is a lot more than I usually do. But the idea is that I would fold it like this, because I think that's really nice and cozy and comfortable. And yeah, the reason I haven't made any more progress on that is because I've enjoyed working on other things more. And also because I want to try something on the heel flap and the heel turn. So if you've been here for a little bit, you know that I always struggle with my heel turns, like rowing out a lot. And I've tried a lot of things, and I've tried playing with needle sizes and stuff, and I think I have one way of doing it that's okay, but I wanted to try knitting in reverse, you know, instead of like turning your work and purling, you keep your work the same way and you just go the other way, you knit backwards. I think a few of you had recommended that. I tried that when I was saying that I was struggling with rowing out a little bit. So I wanted to try this out on the heel flap and the heel turn, but I just need a little bit of brain power for that, and yeah, I haven't made time for that just now. Also, like, again, it's quite hot and I have loads of socks already, so this is not like an urgent project for me to finish. That was all my knitting. I don't have any acquisitions this time around. Like I said, I ordered some yarn, but I don't have it yet. I'm actually going to Dublin at the end of the summer. And so I ordered some yarn from This Is Knit, the yarn store in Dublin, but I've asked if they wouldn't mind holding it until I go there, and then I'll just collect it just to avoid shipping, because obviously it's the European Union and I'm in the UK, and so there's shipping can be expensive, and there can be like taxes and stuff and customs fees and all that kind of thing. So I asked if they wouldn't mind holding it, and they're happy to do that, which is really great. So I will show it to you once I have it. And yeah, that's about it. I've been using quite a bit of my stash lately, and that's been really nice actually, just making some space, using stuff that I already have. It's been really good. So yeah. Before I go, I'm gonna quickly talk about the books that I've been reading recently. I think it's a segment that a lot of you really enjoy. So I've got my little reading journal, and I've still been reading quite a lot. I don't know, this year I'm reading a lot more than I normally do. And I think I read maybe 4 books since my last episode in 6 weeks, which for me is a lot. I'm not a fast reader at all. But yeah, so last time I was reading The Frozen People by Ellie Griffith. And that was sort of my first introduction to Ellie Griffith. I'd seen the second book in that series at Blackwell's in the bookstores, and it looked really good. But then I realized that was the second, so I went, oh, I'm going to read the first to begin with. And I really, really enjoyed it. And a lot of you said that you also enjoy Ellie Griffith. She's got other series. And yeah, I don't know, I'd never heard of her before. I don't know why, because that's definitely the kind of book that I enjoy. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed The Frozen People. So I read that, and then I just went straight into the second one, which was called The Killing Time. And I really, really enjoyed that. The next one in the series is coming out in February next year, so I'm going to wait for that. But I think there's a little Christmas novella in the series coming out in October and November, so I'm looking forward to that as well. But yeah, I would highly recommend it. It's murder mystery, but it's more like a thriller than a cozy murder mystery. But also it has a historical twist to it, because it's set both in current time, London, but also in Victorian London. So yeah, it's done really well. So I've really enjoyed that. And then after that, I took a little break from Ellie Griffith, because the new book it's called the Scottish Shire Mystery series came out. That was called Murder at the Scottish Halloween by Tracy Hall. And I've read the previous one. This is the 8th one in the series. And they're cozy. They're kind of a bit of a standard recipe, not great, not the best quality cozy murder mystery, but the world that the authors created is very cozy and comfy, and one that I enjoy like revisiting when a new book comes out. So I was looking forward to reading that, and the plot was really good actually. I feel like the plots have improved with each new book in the series. However, the more like personal side of the story, like the personal lives of the characters, and like not the murder mystery part of it, I don't know, it took a bit of a turn that was a bit like too religious and too politically conservative for my liking, and I have to say that kind of put me off. So I don't know if I'm going to read any more books in that series. There was already one thing that I wasn't the biggest fan of, is that it's set in Scotland, but it's written by an American author, and she made the choice to like sort of write in accents, and yeah, that kind of bothers me a little bit because I don't think it's done really well. I think it's also kind of weird to write that way. Like, people have accents here and everywhere, but they still speak English, like they still speak the same language. So yeah, that was something that wasn't my favorite about it, but I liked the plots and I liked the story, so I kept reading, but now I don't know. So I'll see. I'll maybe give the next one a chance, see how it goes, and then decide after that. It's probably not going to come out for another year anyway. And then after that, I decided to go back to Ellie Griffith, and I started reading the Dr. Ruth Galloway series, which I think is one of her more like most popular one. I don't know, there's quite a few books. I think she stopped writing those now, but there's, I don't know, 12, 15, 20 maybe, I have no idea, but like a lot. And so I read the first one, and it's the same thing. It's more like a thriller crime mystery, and it was really good. It was really, really good. I think I'm becoming a big fan of her work, and I will definitely keep reading that series. And then there's another series set in Brighton that I might give it a go as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. I read it quite quickly for me. I'm going to read the next ones, that's for sure. But I didn't start reading the next one right away. So I finished this a couple of days ago, and rather than go straight into the next one, I decided to start reading the next book. You can tell that I just read like series basically. The next one in the cozy murder mystery series called Conrad the Cat Detective. And this is definitely like more cozy, but it's a really good one. It's not like I wouldn't say it's like a sort of like a bit cheesy, poorly written one. I think it's actually quite good, even though the premise is kind of funny. It's like this retired policewoman, and she's got a cat who can talk. He only talks to her, but he can actually talk, and they solve like murders together, which is, I don't know, kind of fun. And you would I don't, seeing that, and maybe it's just like stereotypes, but I wouldn't expect like the highest writing, like the highest quality of writing and storytelling and stuff, but actually really good. So I'm on the third one now, called The Cat Who Cracked a Cold Case, and I only started it last night, but I'm about 100 pages in already, and I'm really enjoying it. I don't know if the fourth one is out yet. It might be. I'll have a look, but I think this is definitely a series that I'm gonna keep on reading. So yeah, that was a lot of rambling, but I've really enjoyed my reading recently, so I'm glad to be able to share that with you, and I hope maybe you'll find like one of those titles is something that will appeal to you and that you will enjoy reading as well. Yeah, I think this is where I'm going to leave you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to please leave a thumbs up or a comment, or subscribe if you aren't already. Like, subscribing is free to YouTube, and it just tells YouTube that you enjoyed that, and also it tells YouTube to then share it with other people. So it helps my channel grow, and it also helps other people discover it. So yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!